CQ Raynet. This is G4NRC Golf 4 November Romeo Charlie, operated today by Greg, Golf Sierra Delta Uniform Bravo, serving as net control for the RAYNET-UK weekly activity net. This net meets each Sunday afternoon at 1600 hours local time and is open to all amateur radio operators interested in emergency communications. The purpose of the net is to provide the opportunity for members to test equipment, exchange traffic news, opinions and information, and more information can be found on the RAYNET-UK website at www.raynet-uk.net. This is a directed net, which means all calls are to be made to the net control station unless you are instructed otherwise, and all RAYNET-UK operators are invited and encouraged to check into the net. When you do check in, please announce your call sign slowly and phonetically, followed by your name, and if you wish to leave the net immediately after checking in, then please call in and out. Otherwise, if you want to leave after subsequent turns, then please make it clear you want to check out at that time. After a few check-ins have been made, I will repeat who I've heard. If you're not acknowledged, then please do try again. And if you miss your turn to call in, I will call for any strays at the end of the UK and international segments. So I'll now begin taking check-ins to the RAYNET-UK net as usual in call sign number order. So any stations with figure 8 in their call sign wishing to check in, please call now. This is G4NRC.
Golf 8 Kilo Lima Charlie, excuse me, in and out please, Greg, G8 KLC.
8 Echo Yankee, G8 EEY, name is Mike.
G4NRC, so I've got Phil, Golf 8 Kilo Lima Charlie in and out, and Mike, Golf 8 Echo Yankee, taking his space back at the top of the list again after a few weeks. Any other 8s, please? G4NRC, over. G4NRC, nothing heard, so let's have 7s. Stations figure 7 in their call sign, please go ahead. G4NRC, over. G798, Golf 7 November Echo Hotel, good afternoon.
Morning, 7, I wasn't expecting. Good afternoon.
G4NRC, I've got Graham, Golf 7 November Echo Hotel, and Dave, Mike 7 Alpha Victor Oscar, though Dave, some packet loss on your call in, we'll see how that works in the main net. Any other 7s, please? G4NRC, over. Let's have 6s. Stations figure 6 in their call sign, please go ahead. G4NRC, over. G4NRC, second call, any stations figure 6 in their call sign, please go ahead, over. G4NRC, nothing heard, let's have 5s, then stations figure 5 in their call sign, please go ahead, over. G4NRC, not many 5s to fight over that slot, so we'll go straight to the 4s. Stations figure 4 in their call sign, please go ahead, over.
G4NRC, Golf 4 Kilo Uniform Juliet, G4K UK, travelling in Watford.
G4REV John in Sutton Coldfield, in out please, Greg.
Four Hotel Uniform Foxtrot. Phil. G4NRC, so I've got John, Golf 4 Romeo Echo Victor, who's in and out. Good afternoon to you. And Trevor, Golf 4 Kilo Uniform Juliet, and Phil, Golf 4 Hotel Uniform Foxtrot, saying with thee. Any other fours, please? G4 and RC, over.
Oh, from G4KI, what did you get me there? Phillips House, is it?
G4 and RC. No, I didn't get you, Philip, but I got you on the second call. You didn't show on either dashboard when you called in either. I've got you now. Any other? So that's the fours. Let's have threes. Stations figure 3 in there. Call sign, please go ahead. G4 and RC, over.
Golf 3 Zulu Hotel X-Ray, Ian.
Golf 3 Zulu Hotel X-Ray. Good afternoon, Ian. Any other threes, please? G4 and RC, over. For an RC, no takers, so let's have twos. Stations with figure 2 in their call sign, and that includes you intermediate twos. Please call now. G4 and RC, over. G4 and RC, second call, any stations figure 2 in their call sign, including the intermediates. Please call now, over. G4 and RC, then it's ones. Stations figure 1 in their call sign, please go ahead, over. For an RC, second call, any stations figure 1 in their call sign, please go ahead, over. For an RC, then let's have Mike 0 stations of any regional secondary identifier, please. G4 and RC, over.
M0 JSA, Alan, East Suffolk. Mike 0, Mike Foxtrot Sierra, Drew, West Devon.
G4 and RC, so I've got Alan, Mike 0, Juliet Sierra Alpha, and Drew, Mike 0, Mike Foxtrot Sierra. Any other Mike 0 stations of any regional secondary identifier, please, over. G4 and RC, nothing heard, so let's have Golf 0 stations of any regional secondary identifier, please, over.
Golf Whiskey 0 Juliet Lima X-Ray. Good afternoon, Greg. Name is Andy, Raynet, Pembrokeshire. No traffic today, so in and out, please. Over.
GW0JLX, G4 and RC. Glad to hear you didn't get blown away, Andy. Copied you in and out. Good to hear you on. Have we got any UK stations who missed their turn to call in that wish to do so? Please call now. G4 and RC, over. G4 and RC, nothing heard. Do we have any of our international colleagues on today? That's Nord Samband of Norway, Arin in Ireland, Aries in Slovakia. Any of our international friends want to join the net? G4 and RC, over.
Lima Alpha 6 India Mike, name is Hans. Good afternoon again, Greg. In and out.
Lima Alpha 6 India Mike. Good afternoon, Hans, and thanks for taking part in the IOU exercise earlier on today. We should both be a little bit hoarse or distracted after the last 5 hours, so thanks for joining. Okay, any other stations, UK or international, who are wanting wanting to join the net, please call now. G4NRC, over. G4NRC, nothing heard. So, usual reminder, today's net is being live streamed by Graham, G7NEH, to YouTube today. Past live streams and recordings are available by searching G7NEH, that's Golf 7 November Echo Hotel on YouTube. As always, if you're watching the streams, please hit the like, subscribe or other button to let Graham know that you're there. This is a time-constrained net again, and must be away by 16:45 today, so if we don't finish, I will bring the net to a more abrupt end, but the talk group is always here for people to play with afterwards if there's conversations that need to carry on. I'm also looking for some help next week because I don't think I'll be able to get back from a Manchester event in time to do the DMR net next Sunday, so if there's any offers of assistance to help with that would be appreciated. Storm Dara has mostly passed over the UK by now, but the effects will be felt for a while yet. With wind gusts reaching 93 miles per hour in Wales, it was no surprise that Cardiff RAYNET was put on standby early, or that the mobile phone emergency alert system was given its largest ever job so far, with 3 million phones in the area affected by the red weather warning being triggered. In other areas of the country, there were fatalities, property damage, and in some areas, some brief standing up of rest centres for affected residents while their homes were structurally surveyed after wind damage. Longer term, everyone's reminded that this natural storm will have weakened trees and potentially some antenna hardware, so continue to be careful when you're travelling and working, because the next storm will find the ones that have been weakened by this one. The storm followed a day of railway disruption on Friday when there was a nationwide failure of the GSM-R radio system affecting train-to-signaller communications. This wasn't a natural failure, but instead reportedly followed a maintenance activity replacing an interface card at one control centre. The learning here is probably before modifying any of our own essential systems, check the functionality before and after the change to trap any issues and prepare to roll back those changes if possible. Finally, from the Office 365 chat system, mention of a standalone DMR server called Red Dragon's DMR Hub. I say again, Red Dragon's DMR Hub. This aims to be a DMR server in a box and potentially run over an data link. Not tried it myself yet, but if it could be persuaded to link into the existing RAYNET-UK server, then it may be a more user-friendly option than setting up the HB Link 3 server. So, with that, what thoughts from everyone this week, starting with Mike. Golf 8, Echo Echo Yankee, G4 NRC, over.
G4 NRC from G8 EEY. Well, I must admit, from our point of view here in Norfolk, yeah, there's the odd tree got cracked, but compared with the rest of the country, you'd almost say that we had calm conditions and a drought. Commonly known as continuing drizzle, nothing in the way of anything above about 55 mile an hour wind, so we got off quite lightly. Today it's 8 centigrade, 1019 millibars, 88% relative humidity, 92% cloud cover, and 19.6 mile an hour winds from 21 degrees, so it swung round more or less 270 degrees from earlier on last week. Yeah, only one casualty down the local pub where their gazebo managed to hoik its ground anchors out. The first night it ended up going through 90 degrees. We managed to get it back down, more or less did our best, but the following night it was back up 90 degrees, and last night it was like a downed balloon in the local tree, so I think that's been scrapped. Whenever I do any systems modifications or upgrades and things like that, I do it with trepidation. I usually try to make sure that I've got another system that can take over should my modifications be a failure, which of course does happen, always when you really need it. That's it for this round from G8 EEY.
Echo Echo Yankee G4 and RC. Okay, well, this does remind me, I looked on one of the social medias, it implied there was a way of allegedly prolonging the life of your SD card in a Pi-Star hotspot. I won't tell you how to do it now, but I tried it on both my true Pi-Star and the WPSD unit, and the WPSD unit did not like the change at all. It was just refusing to function, hence my problems last week on the net. So reverse that modification, everything back to normal. Of course, no change to this service because, say, I'd always got a hotspot handy, ready to pick up the net if necessary. Okay, thanks for the update, Mike. I think Chester had 60-mile-an-hour gust maximum, but we got away fairly lightly as well. Round to you, Graham. G7NEH, G4 and RC, over. G4MLC, G7NEH. Yeah, good afternoon, Greg. Good afternoon to all on the net. Yeah, as you say, Chester got away pretty lightly compared to other parts of the country, as we sort of tend to normally do, really, around this area. Last week's viewing figures were 36 views and 4 likes, and 1 comment from House. Just commenting on thanks for the stream and keep it up. So yeah, that's about it for me, really. Don't bring us in the next round, Greg. So I will catch you next week. G4 and RC, G7NEH. G7NEH, G4 and RC. Okay, copied you out on that one, Graham. Thanks. Yeah, for many years there was a Skywarn organisation in the UK of which I was a member, and all the training was for nothing since not one of the thresholds ever got triggered on our side of Cheshire. We do have flooding still mooching around the area, number of flood alerts, and you might have seen the LRF email of last night where they were getting a little excited, but it is calming down and hopefully staying that way for a few days. Thanks for doing the stream as always, and we'll see how our next week happens. Meanwhile, Dave, round to you. Mike 7 Alpha Victor Oscar, G4 and RC, over.
G4 and RC, Mike 7 Alpha Victor Oscar. Yeah, just agree with what yourself and Graham have said around about here. Not too bad. A few pretty nasty gusts, but I don't seem to have had any antenna damage. They seem to be holding fast, so touch wood, there's no problems here in the near future. And for some reason, my hotspot seems to be working, I won't say it too quickly, but pretty good today, and I haven't really messed with them. You know, we've not been on the air for a couple of weeks with hotspot problems. I'm going to order new DVM boards and that, so just await your report and see if there's any packet loss when you come back to us, Greg. Mike 7, Alpha Victor Oscar.
Victor Oscar, G4 and RC returning. That audio is fine, Dave. No problems whatsoever. And yeah, don't touch this, it's working. Might be the other mantra. But yeah, there are a few bits here where the roof creaked in an unusual manner, but all fine. I think the further inland you could get, the better. Was watching planes trying to land at Liverpool, and they were just giving in, and if they couldn't make it to Manchester, they were being pushed down to East Midlands. So some people had far more holiday than they anticipated, courtesy of planes not being able to land in more than 40-mile-an-hour crosswinds. Okay, let's see if your audio stands up for next time, and we'll hear from Trevor, G4KUJ, G4 and RC, over.
G4 and RC, this is G4KUJ. Good afternoon, Greg and everybody else. I think similar weather forecast to Mike's as far as the storm is concerned at this end. Quite a lot of rain, not too heavy, and southerly high winds yesterday and moved around to the north today and virtually died down now. Very quiet. Yeah, I did see the comment about the Red Dragon DMR hub earlier in the week, and sort of did a bit of searching around on the web. There doesn't seem to be too much in the way of description about what it does or how it does it, but the comment regarding Arden was interesting. And once again, I'd reiterate that there's no sign of the packet loss that we had very much to the fore last weekend. So don't know if anything was found or whether it's just the internet getting better or something. Back to you, Greg, G4NRC, G4KUJ.
G4KUJ, G4NRC. Well, it's the season where I can just say that the owls fixed it. There was an issue on the Fusion Bridge as well earlier on in the week, but that's come back to life. So I think Guy's done a reset or restart to get things back where they should be. But yeah, it's pleasing audio so far, which is good. The Red Dragon DMR hub, it was a bit of a thing to find, but at the bottom of the GitHub page there was a link to a wiki or a bit of a live site which would tell you how to install it and take you to a test system. So yeah, not wonderful in terms of documentation, but not too quiet either. It wasn't just here you are, fix it yourself, which was a relief. Right, to the eastern side of Cheshire now. Phil, Golf 4 Hotel Uniform Foxtrot, G4NRC, over.
This is G4HUF. Afternoon all. Right, well, as Greg's already said, Cheshire seems to have had it fairly quiet. I also saw the Red Cross email implying that things were getting exciting, but not exciting enough in that respect. But there we go. We had a little bit of a power outage about 0800 this morning, and that prompted a couple of emails from the DMR server. But that was it, just a very short power outage. I was beginning to wonder whether I was going to have to put my new toys into action, because I've literally invested, taking advantage of the discounts for Black Friday, in a LifePo 4 battery. And I've got to be honest with you, although I went for a cheap and cheerful, I got a little bit uncomfortable with the heat that was generated by the charger. But we'll take that one easy, and we'll have a play and see how it performs and all the rest of it, and hopefully everything will be okay. The other exciting thing that I've got to mention is the fact that I've been approached about a mountain biking activity to the east of Bollington, which tends to indicate that I might have to talk nicely to you, Greg, next year about a possible talk-through box. But I haven't looked too carefully at it yet. The details that were sent to me of the various stages used that what 3 words means to identify locations. Must be my age or something, but I'd be far happier with grid references. So once I've worked those out, then I can just investigate the activities and the requirements further. And quickly, I presume you got my email during the week with that scan that you requested of me. And as far as Manchester ATIS is concerned, They're reporting 15 knot winds at 101, temperature +7, and the pressure at 1028. And that's it from me, and that's a good long over from in comparison with normal. This is G4HUF.
Or HUF, G4NRC returning. Yeah, I knew when I handed it to you there was something I was meant to say first. Yes, the RNARS magazine scan was received and punted through to the rest of the Committee of Management and received positive comments from our own Golf 8 Echo Echo Yankee. But that last paragraph really is what we do expect people to do, which is like, if you don't know what you're doing, stay quiet and leave it to those that do. What 3 words? I'd save that topic for Christmas dinner conversation if you need to start an argument, because you know there are people who love that system versus those that don't. People might guess which category I'm in, but I had to take every one of those references from an outside event that we've assisted on Phil, convert them into real grid references, and actually find that one of the what 3 words was wrong and struck me in a different country. So, yeah, it's not as intuitive as you might like when you're trying to find things out. So, also interested on the next over what the manufacturer is of your lithium ferrous phosphate battery. They go under a different abbreviation now just to make life easier. Manufacturer could be fun to know, Phil. Right, Philip, Golf 4 Kilo India Lima, G4 and RC over.
G4RC, G4 Cow. Thanks very much, Greg. We had our AGM for South Sussex RAYNET last week. All went ahead fair enough, and slight changes to the committee, so that notification should go through to National. I think the people who do that our end seem to do it quite well, so hopefully that will be going through if it hasn't gone through yet. Good to communicate with you on JS8 call yesterday. I thought that was very good. I suppose it would be more interesting if we'd done it actually on the on 60 meters to see what the direct comparison was. But anyway, it was very interesting that I think you and I couldn't hear each other at all on voice on 60, and we had, I think, 100% communication on JS8 call. So that was great. Should be up on next Saturday, I hope. Yeah, I think that's it for me for the moment. I'll keep it very short and sweet. I won't sign just yet. I will let it come around again, but probably should make it nice and quick when it comes around next time, unless I thought of something. G4NRC, G4KIL.
G4KIL, G4NRC. Okay, there's going to be something that's going to get unhooked at some point with this process, that all the temporary repeater call signs issued out, which will need renewing in February, are issued out generally to controllers, provided they have full licenses. So if change of committee equal the change of controller, then I might not get told of some of these changes until I have to start chasing people for the renewals. So that's a bit of a gotcha that's going to keep me awake over Christmas. Yes, JS8 call, as expected, worked very well, and the band worked well, but Hans Slimmer Alpha 6 India Mike and myself were on an IAU exercise on HF today, and I realised in that we should probably have done things the other way round, because we started with the sideband and then went to CW for the second 2 hours, and should really have gone for CW first, and then we could have had a greater feeling of success, and could have failed upwards, if you like, in modes as things changed. Okay, thanks, Philip. Ian, Golf 3 Zulu Hotel X-Ray, G4NRC, over.
G4NRC in the group, G3ZHX, afternoon all. Yeah, what 3 words? You've got problems there if some words appear in both singular and plural form. They're obviously in different locations. As far as having the wrong thing in the documentation, well, that could happen with a grid reference. GSMR failure, we got up one morning and found the whole of our machine-to-machine burglar alarm system, which with some thousands of people, I believe, had gone down because Vodafone had done an overnight upgrade and deleted a deprecated interface. Perhaps we shouldn't have been using it, but we had been using it for the best part of 10 years at that point. Anyway, I will pass it back to you, and I shouldn't bother logging any of that. G3ZHX.
Golf 3 Zulu Hotel X-Ray G4 and RC. Well, it is something of my own creation here, and having a time-constrained net, you will try and get so much into an over. By the time you said don't bother logging it, I'd already got it typed down. I am getting a bit too fast at logging. But yes, to acknowledge the point about errors, it's more the intuition of if you're at a point, how do you know whether the point you're aiming for is up, down, left or right from you? It's easy with grids, Maidenhead locators, and even Google Plus codes for those that want to go and have a look at what those are, but not so easy with what 3 words. And I do still have the issue where, depending on the what 3 words, the St. John controller can collapse and physically giggles when they see what the location is described as. But with that, 2 left on this round, and it's Alan. Mike 0, Juliet Sierra Alpha next, G4 and RC, over.
Yeah, good afternoon everybody. East Suffolk here. We've missed the worst of the wind and the rain, so we're okay. As we should have been, as a group, we should have been assisting with a exercise yesterday at a place called Snape, which is down on the River Orr, a joint exercise with Orford Parish Council. So Orford is famous for the radar, Orford Ness, and Snape is famous for the Snape Molten's concert place. We should have been doing a flood exercise there yesterday, but it was ironically called off because of a lack of volunteers able to do the exercise at their end, not ours, their end. It would have been ironic if they had flooded, of course. I'm not sure if the volunteers would have then appeared out of the woodwork, so to speak. But other than that, all quiet. We had our last event, scheduled event, last Sunday, which went off very, very well. And we rounded it off with a few others went to the pub for a carvery lunch. So that was a good end to our somewhat busier year, as it got busy towards the end, which is a bit bizarre. I've been quiet at the beginning and busy towards the end. But yeah, I'll let you go then. I won't come back. I'll listen to the end. Have a good evening, everybody. Best 73 from East Suffolk. Back to you, Greg.
Mike 0, Juliet Sierra Alpha, G4 and RC. Yeah, it is a bit unfortunate if they're trying to do an event like a rest centre, otherwise just don't have enough people to play the casualties and so on. As far as events being topped off by a pub meal, etc., you're doing it in the wrong season. In West Cheshire years ago, we used to have a great event where we could finish and go to one of the pubs on the Peckforton Range and have a look at the sunset over Stanlow Refinery from a safe distance and watch all the different shades of green that the sun could go as it passed behind the refinery. But at least we did ours in summer, not in winter. Right, last one on this turn, and we can do this for 1645. It's Drew, Mike 0, Mike Foxtrot Sierra, G4 and RC, over.
G4 and RC, M0 MSS. Okay, so starting from the top. We caught the bottom end of the storm here, and it really dragged on. Significant number of roads closed due to downed trees, and my garden fence leaning over at a terrible angle, and that's going to have something to do with it. Antennas survived okay, though I did drop them down by about 10 feet, so they're just above the roof line, but they seem to have behaved okay. Red Dragon DMR hub looks very interesting. I will try to find some time to put it up on the Docker that I've got on my Arden and see what it looks like and how it behaves. Obviously, very interested if Guy has got anything to integrate with the RAYNET DMR server. Also went out to a rally this morning. I managed to pick up 70 meters of Heliflex LD4 for for a very nice price. So very happy with that. I haven't actually got a use for it yet, but it'll sit in the corner until I do. Other than that, thanks for running the net, Greg. I'll make this my final to make it a bit easier for you, and catch you all next week from M0MFS.
Mike Zero, Mike Foxtrot Sierra, G4 and RC returning. Yeah, well, if you see LDF hanging around, it's just a shame not to buy it, but then you do have to find something to do with it. As far as integrating the hub into the main RAYNET server, I know Guy has got means of getting HB Link 3 servers integrated into our own. Just not sure about this one because, as Trevor says, it's a bit thin on the documentation side at times. But we'll see what you make of it. If it looks working okay and you have an advantage because you have Docker running on your systems already, then let me and Guy know, and we can always try and test a little bit further on to do the integration. Because having local servers that go to the national one when they need to get out of area would be a good level of resilience. Okay, so it's 7 threes to yourself and M0JSA, and we'll go back to the top of the list for any further comments. Golf 8 Echo Echo Yankee, G4 and RC, over.
G4 and RC from G8EEY. Yeah, I noticed your comment on SD cards on Pi-Stars. Has anybody tried the M2E solid-state disk drive adapters on any Pi-Stars using normal-sized Pis? Obviously, don't work on the zeros. I wonder if that makes any odds. I did get a server error warning during the week, so that might be something between last week's and this week's lovely red totem pole. I've got lithium-ion phosphate batteries in the Land Rover inside the vehicle in plastic battery boxes with thermal insulation because they do not like being used or especially charged if they go cold. They don't handle the cold anything like as well as lead acid. LDF, very useful if you're building stubs, filters and duplexers. They actually work quite well with a bit of mechanical work at the ends. Otherwise, thanks for running the net, Greg, and look forward to next week from G8EEY.
Golf 8 Echo Echo Yankee, G4 and RC. Yeah, you've made the comment before about having the LFP batteries well insulated thermally. If the battery management system's doing its job, though, it should stop some of that. I've written down M2E SSD adapters, but that wasn't really what you meant. It was a different abbreviation. I just typed it wrong. I haven't tried any of that on Pis. It is perfectly doable to have different things other than the SD cards, which do provide much longer life and are better for more servery use. I've not tried it on a Pi. It is what happens on my Odroid, which is the second PC in the shack here, though. Right, thanks, Mike. Talk to you next week. Dave, Mike 7 Alpha Victor Oscar, G4 and RC, over.
G4. Games and tournaments will be right again next week. Yeah, I'm just hoping the storm now is blown away because listening to Agnes has just put me on a ferry back from France later on this afternoon, going into this evening, so we don't want it to be too up and down for her either, do we? Back to you, Greg. Thanks for taking the net, and
Alpha Victor Oscar, G4 and RC. Yeah, I certainly wouldn't want to be out at sea at the in the current storm, whichever side of the way it's gone. However, much packet loss on that second over, a few drops and restarts. So whatever's happening, I don't know what it is anymore. It can't be SD card because you had a good first over. So we'll see if anybody get any further inspiration for you as we go around. Okay, 7-3's Dave. Trevor, G4KUJ for a final G4 and RC over.
G4 NRC, G4KUJ. Keep you brief. You and I have obviously found the same web pages for Red Dragon, so we'll keep an eye on that. Looks as if it's comparatively new. Looking at the dates on the releases, it looks as if it started sort of early part of maybe 23. Or sometime during 23, so we'll see how that goes. Anyway, thanks for running the net. Should be around next Sunday, all being well. Look forward to meeting up again. G4 NRC, G4KUJ.
G4KUJ, G4 NRC. Yeah, no doubt catch up with you at some point through the week, Trevor, but it's a busy week for work this week, which is going to be a nuisance. Sorry to mention the four-letter odd concept to some people. One day I'll be retired too. So, thanks, Trevor. Next to Phil for that manufacturer of his battery. G4HUF, G4 NRC, over.
This is G4HUF. Right. The manufacturer, purely based on price, as far as that's concerned, is eco-worthy. Echo Charlie Oscar hyphen Whiskey Oscar Romeo Tango Hotel Yankee. It's not, as I say, it's not the most sophisticated unit by any means, but it is quite a substantial discount or cheaper price than a lot of them, which is why I went for it for a first play in that regard. And of course, the comments about amusing descriptions. There's a cracker on this list that I've been given for this mountain bike list ride, but I'll not do it now. It'll only cause too much disruption. I will save that for another occasion. Thanks, Greg, for A, running the nets, and B, giving me the opportunity to pick up on little bits and pieces from you and everybody else. And we'll look forward to next week. This is G4HF. Bye.
G4HUF, G4 and RC returning. I'm getting interested now what the three words is. Eco-worthy. I'm going to have to go back to my Amazon list. With so many of the manufacturers start with eco to try and play green credentials, even though they're probably definitely not. If it's the charger getting warm, I'd probably suggest physics. It's when the battery gets warm that's when you start to worry, which is the other side of physics and chemistry you don't want to experience. But don't remember hearing anything bad about eco-worthy, so I'll have a mooch, but certainly interested in what the long-term success is with it. Okay, thanks for coming on, Phil, and you're welcome. 2 left to go, so it's Philip next. Golf 4 Kilo India Lima, G4 and RC, over.
G4 and RC, G4 KIL. Yeah, a couple of quick ones. We're not too badly affected by the storm down here on south coast Sussex. So yeah, my wife tells me there's one tree down across the pavement a bit further down, but I've not heard of anything else, I don't think. The other one, a Zone 6 online meeting tomorrow night, should anybody find that of interest. So that's the only thing for me. Otherwise, thanks for running the net. I'll sign now, 73, speak to you next week, hopefully. G4KL, clear, just listening.
G4KIL, G4 and RC. Yeah, I think I did enough damage the last time I was on a meeting with your zone, so I better not play in the Zone 6 one. Have a good meeting, those that are on there, and still waiting to see if there's anything people wanted to know more about from my last talk, but no problems. Okay, 7-3's Philip, and the final word on the net this week goes to Ian. Golf 3 Zulu Hotel X-Ray, G4 and RC, over.
G4NRC in the net, G3Z8X. I had another problem with what 3 words, and that is it's a single point failure. Their database is proprietary, and you have to go back through their server, as far as I understand, as opposed to Ordnance Survey, where there are multiple routes in. And I shall leave it at that. Say thanks for running the net, and 73 to all. G3Z8X out.
3Z8X, G4NRC. Yeah, you did remind me. I was going to try. I didn't want to install it, but installing it and then killing all Wi-Fi and connectivity, see whether it would still tell me where I was. But yes, it is a proprietary code, and it's available in many languages. So wherever you are, it does actually have many, many different references, depending on the home language of the app that's being used. Okay, thanks guys. That is as good to close as on time we're going to get. So thanks everybody for taking time out to participate this afternoon, and be careful. Have a good week. And until next Sunday afternoon at 1600 hours local time, I will close the RAYNET-UK weekly activity net on talk group 23531 Pheonix and Brandmeister and 50235331 on the RAYNET-UK system, and return those talk groups to being an open net rather than a directed net. 730, this is G4NRC now closing and reverting to my normal call sign.